Have you ever opened up the finals and thought, what the hell is even happening? I mean, yes, we all do because of how much the game tends to be chaotic. But I don't mean the gameplay, I mean, why are we fighting each other? Who are these sponsors? Why is a group of nerds trying to hack the show every 2 seasons? Wait, there's a story in the finals? Hi, my name is Creed, and if you ever ask yourself one of these questions, you're in the right place, because today I'm breaking down the law of the finals. Now, the reason most of you probably have no clue there is a story is totally normal. The law is hidden in Easter eggs, background details, and sometimes straight up freaking puzzles. And piece by piece, the community's been trying to make sense of it all, and we're far from being done with it. I'll first give some quick context about the world of the finals and where it all takes place. Then, we'll meet the sponsors, the real characters of the story. After that, I'll walk you through the full timelines of events, and we'll finish on the theories the community and I have. And hey, as always, feel free to let me know in the comments what is your theory for the finals. Who knows, maybe you'll end up nailing one of the game's secrets. Alright, grab your pack of Ospuze, bag of chinchilla chips, and lock the fuck in, because I'm not putting any Family Guy clips under this one. The year is roughly 2100. You've just clocked out after a long day at Engimo, where your job is monitoring people's private messages to make sure they weren't talking shit about your customers. So you're a little bit rattled after your day in the meat space. That's what they call the real world here. It's graphic? To calm down, you crack open a new Ospuze can you just picked up. On the label, made from real tiger juice. Huh. Funny, you say. Then shotgun that bitch, head home, flop into the couch, throw on your VoLP VR headset, and tune into the world's greatest show, the finals. It's a game show where contestants go for a cash. I'm not going to explain the damn game. But whether you're watching or actually trying to make it in, the dream is always the same. Fame, fans, and that sweet, sweet sponsor deal. And of course, very few ever get there. So think of it like football. Actually, bigger than football. And no, I'm not calling it soccer. Now that I've placed the context, you might be wondering, who's the main character of a story? Is it Scotty, the announcer? Maybe one of the old contestants like Dede? Or maybe me? Let me stop you right there. It's not you, buddy. I mean, does this look like main character material to you? Yeah, me neither. Because here's the thing, the real stars of the finals aren't individual people, they're the sponsors. The finals exist in a world of super capitalism, where everything is branded, everything is for sale, and everything has a price. So if you really want to understand the story, you first need to understand the sponsors. Back in 1982, an operating system called MultiCo OS was released, which is somehow still involved in running the finals to this day. Now, the nerds over 60 probably immediately noticed the similarity to the Commodore 64, and yeah, you'd be right, because a lot of brands and events in this universe are direct references to real-world counterparts. Around the same time, a company called MultiCo was founded. They're the ones who own the finals as a whole. We barely know anything about them, just that they're an absolute behemoth of a company. I mean, I'm talking like if BlackRock and Microsoft had a baby, okay? And like any megacorps worth their weight in unpaid interns, they also act as an umbrella, covering other brands and sponsors in the game. Take Holtow, for example. They're an insurance company specializing in protecting digital assets, and also selling sun and alien invasion insurance. Yeah, basically professional fearmongers. Their CEO, Cranberry Rotal, also owns the Rotal Rose Casino in Las Vegas, so the guy can literally insure my gambling addiction. While Holtow has been crucial for uncovering a bunch of Easter eggs, we still don't have any deep lore on them yet. They're shady, they're weird, but we have yet to fully crack them open. Iseul-t, another company under MultiCo's belt, known for creating virtual copies of the fashion trends in the real world. Yeah, I don't call this swag. Their entire business model is basically preying on insecurity. If you're not confident, or if you're desperate to stand out, they happily sell you whatever shiny fake personality upgrade you think you need. And to make sure you buy into it, they force their signed contestants to always look happy, or just fake their entire persona, while pumping out French commercials? They want you to absorb something if you didn't get it. And finally, we've got Engimo, the third MultiCo company we know of. They sell themselves as an in-invest communication infrastructure bridging the gap between mid-space and the virtual world with unparalleled speed and accessibility. Your glorified Wi-Fi provider, shut your ass up. As I mentioned before, Engimo also controls the reality shield, filtering undesirable comments and opinions from ever reaching their customers. Or in their words, we don't censor, we cultivate for a global community of friends. Let me translate the corporate bullshit for you. They spy, they censor, and if you don't pay for the service, well, let's just say you stop being part of their global community. Now, moving away from MultiCo's umbrella, let's talk about Alfa Acta. They're basically a family-owned defense contractor that's been around since at least the 80s. Think your local family deli, but instead of selling you sandwiches, they're selling miniguns and nukes. Nukes. They operate like your typical private military contractor. Big guns, questionable morals. And just like Holtow, they prey on people's paranoia to sell completely unnecessary products. On paper, with their military background, you'd probably expect them to be the least moral sponsors in the finals. But trust me, we're only getting started. Dissun is an energy company known for providing clean, reliable energy for every match in the finals. Now, I think that making a commercial showing a muscle car spitting flames doesn't necessarily scream sustainable, but sure, why not? For a long time, all we had was suspicion about how clean their energy really was. But then, CNS leaked a series of mysteriously deleted articles revealing that 6 of their production sites were completely scrubbed from their records and that those same zones were declared uninhabitable. Oh, and 5 of their full technicians have mysteriously disappeared for the 3rd time this quarter. The theories, some say it was to help pass some kind of emission test, or that their product is literally so toxic it kills employees. And others think they were eaten by Ned, the Hammerhead Shack. I mean, that would make a cool Halloween event, but here's the one I believe. Dissun's fuel runs on bodies. Human bodies. The logo would hint at solar power, but if it really was solar, would it turn entire zones into wastelands? Doesn't add up. What does add up is the recurring disappearances of their fuel technicians. If I were you, I'd keep an eye on Dissun and their CEO, Damien Vossler. Now, because this channel is totally sponsored by the following company, I legally need to remind you that everything I'm about to say is just rumors made up by CNS out of spite. Ospuze is an energy drink company famous for its bright yellow color and their sugar-free flagship, Produce. Their claims, packed with the legal limit of performance-peaking stimulants and the only liquid you need from now on. Yeah, who needs water? What's that sound? Oh right, that 40% real tiger juice you just drank earlier, turns out it's made from tiger fruit, grown and harvested by Tantila on the South Atlantic landfill. Yes, landfill. Allegedly. Which might explain the side effects you're having right now, including the intense color saturation, momentary dissociation for spatial norms, and minor conversational latency. From the latest leaks we just talked about before, articles were shown about riots caused by a regional Ospuze shortage, which was accompanied of a rise of usual side effects, like sleep collapsing and skin detachment symptom. Your skin what now? So yeah, Ospuze is laced with extremely addictive drugs that don't show any side effects until you stop drinking it. Basically, Monster Energy meets heroin. Allegedly. And the marketing? Shady as hell. False promises, gaslighting customers, borderline alcohol tier targeting, it all looks so illegal that either Ospuze is corrupt to the bone or nobody dares to regulate them. Which brings us to Sofia Petronel, the CEO. Her mission seems pretty clear. Replace every other drink with Ospuze by any means necessary. Case in point, their main competitor, Hydra Q, was lined up to be a sponsor in Season 7, but got mysteriously cut off last minute. Gee, I wonder who might be responsible. But here's where things get weirder. CNS has been broadcasting the phrase S-Lies since the beginning of the game. And thanks to a leaked image from a known CNS member, Arcus, we know that S refers to Sofia. Thanks to the same guy, in leaked documents, we learned that even MultiCo themselves flagged her as suspicious, lumping her together with an unknown L. And to this day, nobody knows what Sofia's real endgame is. Is it just total drink domination, or something way bigger? Hey, honestly, Sofia, trying to replace water is already ambitious enough, sis. Maybe catch a break or... Alright, that's right, yeah. And when things get out of hand, who does MultiCo sends? Vaiiya. They are a cybersecurity company run by CEO Sal Scoria, which, plot twist, is actually a AI program. They first showed up in Season 2, when MultiCo called them to kick CNS out of the system. That backfired so hard that a sentient AI running the finals just decided to take the whole game show to 1500s feudal Japan. Alright, yes, the finals is technically run by a sentient AI nowadays, supposedly under control, probably being babysat by MultiCo. By Season 5, Vaiiya started advertising their Series 2000 neural implant, marketed as a chip that suppresses third-party influences on the mind. And thanks to the latest leaks, we know that this thing fries your head both physically and mentally. Literally. Oh, and they're also building robots. The final Battle Pass skin was literally advertised in their own commercial as part of the Series 9900 line. TLDR, behind the scenes, Vaiiya is trying to mind control everyone into obedient little drones. And judging by the marketing copy, someone needs to teach that fridge subtlety. The only other group of sponsors outside of MultiCo is IVADA. They're marketed as a premium skin supplier. Clothing, weapons, gadgets, basically the Louis V of VR. If you've looked closely at the cosmetics, you'll notice that they're often bundled with other obscure brands contains the cross square symbol tied to the 401 kilowatt KM core brand, which is then linked to the DXZ, X7AV, and CRMP brands. We don't know jack about most of these, except that CRMP is connected to audio. Beyond that, pure cosmetics for now. I just wanted to get them out of the way so you don't start conspiracy theorying their purpose in the comments. Now, of course, there are more sponsors in the game, but truth be told, half of them are just filler brands with no lore yet. We'll circle back to Volpe later in the video since they do matter, but there's not much I can say about them or their CEO, Mackenzie Lapis, without jumping ahead. As for Trentilla, well, their lore so far begins and ends with the Tiger Juice. Since we've already talked about CEOs, the only two characters worth mentioning are the commentators of the game show, Scotty and June. Starting with June, she's known for her obsession with numbers, spreadsheets, and statistic glazing. Also, she has a virtual Swedish Valand. Who's the good boy? Who's the good boy? Who's the good... You. You're the good boy. The biggest theory about June is that she might not even be real. We don't have confirmation yet, but this has been floating around for a while. This will explain why even backstage her voice sounds digitized, and that she refuses to drink Ospuze unlike Scotty, who's a known Ospuze addict. Sofia really backed that bozo. Now, Scotty is supposedly a former contestant. From his many voice lines, we know that he helped create the finals same time TI, and that he's got some kind of close relationship with Volpe, as he requested early access to their VR headsets. There's also a line from June saying he's the contestant with the most death, so the guy was probably a light main. The weirder bit, Scotty believes that Ospuze and CNS are secretly working together. We'll come back to that theory later, but let's just say that this guy knows way more than a hype man should. Bottom line, Scotty isn't just an announcer, and he's probably involved deep in the making of the game show. Creed! What about the other former contestants? Yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. Olidia's an edgy light main, Ayad's a nerd, Dele's a cool kid, and Valkyria is a killing machine. That's sadly all we got. For those with a keen eye, you might have noticed that I've skipped CNS in the sponsor section. That's because they aren't really a sponsor, they're the protagonist. They're the ones actually driving the story forward. So as we dive into the timeline, we'll also be following CNS journey through the story of the finals. So, 9082, MultiCo is founded and MultiCo OS is released. To this day, it's probably used for the back-end stuff of the finals game show. From the very start of the game, close beta to season 1, a mysterious collective called CNS, which probably stands for Central Nervous System, has been leaving hidden messages and puzzles. By late season 1, glitch clusters started appearing in the arena, and right before season 2, Orgoy Arcus began leaking content on Reddit, including the censored MultiCo documents. With the launch of season 2, CNS found a vulnerability in Volpe's VR headset, and managed to break into the game with the promise to change the game, or and they casually dropped peak while they were at it. This is when MultiCo panicked and called in Vaiiya to remove CNS presence. But the only way to fully purge them was to reset the AI, which, for some fucking reason, sent the game show straight into feudal Japan for season 3, and introduced Terminal Attack as a ranked game mode. So if you don't like Engimo, Kyoto, or Terminal Attack, you can blame Vaiiya on that one. At this point, MultiCo realized the game show was turning into a circus, so they sent a fixer, Merciless Marcel, to smooth things out with the sponsors and undo CNS changes. So everyone say thank you Marcel for bringing cash out back as a ranked game mode. Thank you Marcel. Thank you Marcel. Thank you. Season 4 drops and CNS gone. Disappeared. Vanish. Season 5 rolls out and there's still nowhere to be seen until they came back with Team Deathmatch. Hell yeah, baby! But that was temporary. Then comes season 6. Some guy starts making videos on YouTube and this is where things start getting spicy. Right before season 7, during an Act Vaiiya commercial, we hear an unknown voice telling Scotty and June to let CNS do their thing because, I quote, "Some doors are left unlocked on purpose." That same season, CNS hijacks marketing assets from the would-be sponsor Hydra Q and takes over season 7, dropping new peak by the way. And the latest update, as of right now, is the infamous Free Frogs video, which leaked deleted articles about Ospuze, Dissun, and Vaiiya. Easily the second biggest lore leak so far. Wait, what? Why is it moving? There's nothing else to... What do you mean season 8 just fucking dropped? Well, before the launch of season 8, we actually got the aftermath of the Free Frogs video. And this time from the backstage point of view. And some very important lore dropped. Mainly that June knows exactly who the Free Frogs are, and that the Major is canon, with its main stage literally being built over the Frogs Pond. We'll circle back to the Frogs later, but outside of that, season 8 didn't reveal a ton of lore. The only other key details are that Trentilla is moving beyond agriculture into something bigger, and that the administrator from TF2 is their CEO. For now, all you need to know is that something big is coming, and MultiCo is using the Major to distract the audience from something much darker. Now, this begs the question, why would MultiCo let CNS in so easily? Thanks to Scotty, we know that in Season 2, the game show's rating went up. And oh look, Ospuze's only real competitor got conveniently replaced. Could this all just be one giant stunt to make more money? But then, why would CNS attack Sofia so aggressively if they were secretly boosting Ospuze? And why would MultiCo let CNS leak so much incriminating information about their sponsors? One thing's clear. To pull this off, CNS can be just some hackers. They're people with deep inside knowledge of how the system works. We've also seen their message, taking back what is ours, pop up multiple times, which could mean breaking free from Ospuze's addictive chemicals, resisting Vaiiya's friendships, dodging Engimo surveillance, or maybe it means CNS were the original developers of the finals all along. Alright, I've already dipped my toes in, but now it's time to put our tinfoil hats on because we're really going for those theories. One of the most popular theories is that CNS are the original developers of the finals. And that would make sense. The whole aesthetic screams 80s, the same era MultiCo OS was released. Maybe they were part of MultiCo before the sentient AI took over as the backbone of the game. This could even work as a pretty allegory for Embark's own story with DICE, or even their relationship with Nexon. Spear went into this in his CNS video, and he also mentions another angle. Maybe CNS isn't just lore, but a message to us, the players, warning us about mega corporations. Like I said earlier, most of the events and brands in the lore are thinly veiled references to real-world examples. If you start digging, you'll find out that a lot of these stories aren't even that far-fetched. And even if it's just a game theory, please be mindful of what you consume and who you're giving your information to, especially nowadays. I say this as someone who literally signed a contract with Google, so take that as you will. But then, what about Sofia? Why is everyone so suspicious of her? If she wasn't literally stealing poison, maybe I could buy into some kind of undercover hero angle, but it's weird that CNS seems to be helping her removing Hydra Q, when Ospuze has always been their main target. Up until recently, you could almost believe CNS was secretly boosting Ospuze, until last week when they leaked the Riot article. That just counters the theory. Putting another tinfoil hat on, what if the CNS who hijacked Season 7 was actually fake? Something MultiCo cooked up to eliminate Hydra Q and pretend it wasn't their fault. Meanwhile, the real CNS only came back later with the Free Frogs video. That would also explain why CNS is a sponsor this season, something that always felt off to me, but yeah, I don't really buy in this one either. Some of you might be wondering what the Free Frogs actually means, and more specifically what the poem inside of it is trying to tell us. So using all the context we have so far, here's my personal breakdown, stanza by stanza. Here's a story that I hope you'd forget. This is a direct reference to the leaked documents shown in the video. 3 perfect frogs sitting by a pond, when the world whispered so soft from beyond. The 3 frogs represent 3 people, or 3 sponsors, being tempted by the promises of the virtual world, the beyond of mid-space. One tasted shimmer in a glittering fly, but the hunger stayed loud. She never knew why. The first frog is tempted by the fly, the smooth promises of VR. She experiences that world, but it never truly satisfies her. The she never knew why implies influence beyond her control. One rode the current fast and vivid, but the water was thick with the frogs he once shared. The second male frog eagerly follows, riding the current with respect, but gets bogged down by the thick water. Other frogs, allies, or forces that slow him down. One stayed near shore, thought it was by choice. She leapt on command, her croak without voice. The third frog stays in mid-space, believing it's her choice. But in reality, she's leaping on someone else's command. Her cry for help cannot reach anyone. 3 perfect frogs by the pond once more. Not leaping, not croaking, not like before. Either the original 3 frogs, now corrupted, or a new set entirely. In both cases, they're not in the same state as before VR. Something essential has been lost. But the world still remembers, and so does the stream. Their croak isn't lost, just caught in a dream. Suggests that the frogs are either under control, replaced, or their voices deliberately erased. The dream inside manipulation or memory tampering. We give you the truth. Fly free, rise above. No curtains, no constructs. Clearly CNS speaking. They're urging to fight sentient AI, neural chips, and addictive substances, all the constructs hidden behind the sponsor's polished facades. Now, in the video, each stanza was paired with a sponsor ad and their leaked articles, so the obvious conclusion is that the 3 frogs are respectively Ospuze, Dissun, and Vaiiya. The greed of the first frog describes Sofia perfectly. The hunger and she doesn't know why suggests that she's being influenced by something that drives her to extreme ambition. The second frog could be described how Dissun used to be a sustainable energy company, but overwhelmed, either by growth, betrayal, or corruption. This might even explain why their current CEO is French at the head of a supposedly Japan-based company. Or maybe he's just a huge whip. The third frog to me is the biggest reach. Vaiiya's current CEO is supposedly an AI, but the line "she leapt on command, a croak without voice" could imply that the the original CEO was brainwashed or put into artificial sleep, replaced by the AI fridge we know today. And since Vaiiya specializes in altering people's emotion and motives through neural chips, this will work perfectly. But I also might be completely wrong about all of this. Either way, for CNS to know all of this, they either need to be ex-MultiCo employees who watched the transformation firsthand, or relatives to the old CEOs themselves. And now the question I have to address, because it's probably the most asked theory in the entire community, are the finals and Arc Raiders set in the same universe? Short answer? It's possible. Arc Raiders is set roughly 100 years after the finals, and the only evidence we have are breadcrumbs. A deleted image using the Dissun logo as background art, and an outfit with what looks like the outline of Namatama, the finals mascot. That's about it, and these could be just reused assets, nothing more. But if they were connected, it will make sense. Speranza, the ruined world of Arc Raiders, could easily be the end results of the sponsor's unchecked obsession with AI and control. The Arc robots themselves could be tied back to Vaiiya's tech. So it's definitely possible, but until Embark drops a direct link, the only thing tying the two games together is that they're from the same studio and share a dystopian setting. Well, there goes my contract at Ospuze. I had to filter a lot of content for this video, so if I missed something, let me know in the comments. Or better yet, drop your own theories. Who exactly is CNS? What is Sofia hiding? Was Dissun fuel really made of? Who or what are the three frogs referencing? And why is MultiCo letting CNS hijack their seasons? I'll list my main sources in the description, but if you ever want to dive even deeper into the rabbit hole, I recommend checking out the Easter egg and lore channels on the finals main Discord. I tried Easter egg hunting once and I'll never do it again. That shit broke me. Huge shout out as well to Spear and Rockhoundblack. If you're interested in the lore and hidden secrets of the finals, their videos are absolutely worth watching. Also, quick apology for the delay. My regular viewers probably noticed that this one took way longer than usual, but honestly it was a ton of work. Subscribe or not, I'd love to hear what you think of it. Any feedback helps, and if you guys enjoyed this, I'll definitely make a part 2 once there's more material to cover. Obligatory social plug, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.